So the issue of central banks buying gold. So let's put it into perspective, right? It's when central banks buy gold to back their currencies, are the people going to trust that if they hold this paper liability of that central bank, that they can redeem it for the gold that's on the central bank's balance sheet? I don't think anyone would say that that is even remotely possible. They'll have to sell they'll have to make it convertible if they want people to use their disgusting inflated paper. And in order to make it convertible, they've got to stop printing. And if they're going to stop printing, they're going to have to allow their banking clientele buddies who they control, they're going to have to allow them to crash and fail. And then at that point, their lives get in danger because the people that they control really control them.
Rafi Farber highlights the dangers of central bank digital currencies, calling them another layer in a failing economic pyramid. They don't create new wealth, but allow governments to monitor and control transactions. While this sounds alarming, Rafi is confident the system won't hold. History shows that when governments impose strict controls, markets adapt, turning to alternatives like gold, silver, or black markets. As Rafi puts it, the black market always wins because it's the real market.
Unfortunately, for some countries, that might be the next step in the pyramid. And if it's going to be, there's not much that can be done to stop it. At least from my perspective. I mean, if you're a mover and a shaker, and you have a lot of influence, then you can set up a local economy that uses real money, or even, let's not think so loftily and just uses paper currency between people in a local economy scale. And maybe you could do that as long as the cash isn't outlawed. So, I mean, in terms of protecting yourself from digital currency, you could do that. That's possible. But I'm not that worried about it, because if you imagine digital currency as the next step in the pyramid, which is what it is, right? Let's take a step back for a second, right? Speaking from an economic praxeological Misesian, perspective here, there's no difference economically between the digital dollar that we have now and a central bank digital dollar, or the rupee that the digital rupee that Indians have now. They have, they have phones, they have the internet, they have, a digital number in their bank account that isn't backed by paper rupees. They have a digital rupee already. It's just what they call a digital rupee is just a better way to track financial transactions. So we're not talking about a new currency here. We're talking about a derivative on top of an existing currency that's just really good at spying on you, and spying on everything that you do. So look, on the one hand, this is terrifying. It's very terrifying. I would stay away from central bank digital currencies, meaning blockchain, government-controlled blockchain. It would be a better word for it. It doesn't. Central bank digital currency kind of obfuscates the issue. We're talking about a government-controlled blockchain where they can see everything that you've ever done with this dollar, or anything that anyone's ever done. I would avoid it as much as possible, but I wouldn't let it get to me and think that another layer in the pyramid can stretch out the system much longer. No, you build another floor on the pyramid, it's going to make it even less stable. So I'm hoping these things do not last very long. I'm hoping that everything ends before they really gain any traction. And the more traction they gain, the faster it's going to fall. And then people say to me, well, Rafi, what if they try to stop inflation by saying, well, you can only buy a certain amount of stuff with your digital currency or whatever, and they really try to clamp down on that? Well, I mean, look, hyperinflations have happened before. Governments do not like it when that happens, and they try to clamp down on it in any way. And they do that in Argentina. They did it in Weimar Germany. They said you can only spend this much amount, or however they try to control it. It never works. So just because it's digital currency, it's going to work? No, the market will always find other ways. If, let's say, the government says, well, you can only buy a certain amount of meat or a certain amount of vegetables with your digital currency because prices are moving too fast, well, then the market will clear with some other form of money, like gold and silver coins. I mean, that's, if anything, the more that they try to control the central bank digital currency, the more that they're encouraging other forms of real money to come out and take its place in the black market. The black market always wins because the black market is the real market. So the issue of central banks buying gold. So let's put it into perspective, right? It's when central banks buy gold to back their currencies, central banks print currency a lot faster than they can possibly accumulate any gold. And I'm not saying they're not accumulating gold, but sometimes, and I don't know about India's case specifically, but when gold bugs tend to talk about central banks buying gold, and then they're, oh, this is going to raise the gold price and we're going to be rich. I mean, if you look at a central bank like Turkey, they buy gold, they sell gold. They buy gold, they sell gold. It goes up and down. It's like, it's crazy. And they're who wants the Turkish lira? Nobody wants it. Right? It's dead. And it didn't matter how much gold that they bought. So it's not an issue of how much gold a central bank has. The issue is, do people trust that its liabilities, which are its currency, the currency is a liability of the central bank. That's the definition of what a currency is. Are the people going to trust that if they hold this paper liability of that central bank, that they can redeem it for the gold that's on the central bank's balance sheet? I don't think anyone would say that that is even remotely possible. It's not. So I don't think it even matters at all how much gold or silver or real assets a central bank even has. Because once they destroy the currency, the faith in the liability issuing group, which is the central bank, will be lost. And they'll have to sell they'll have to make it convertible if they want people to use their disgusting inflated paper. And in order to make it convertible, they've got to stop printing. And if they're going to stop printing, they're going to have to allow their banking clientele buddies who they control, they're going to have to allow them to crash and fail. And then at that point, their lives get in danger because the people that they control really control them, right? You know, it's like it's an expansion of that saying: if you owe the bank, $1,000 or $10,000, you're in trouble. If you owe the bank, $1 billion, the bank is in trouble. So if the bank's clients get in trouble and they need inflation and they can't get it because the central bank is saying, oh, well, we have to restore confidence in our currency, so we can't inflate anymore. Well, then the Federal Reserve Board, or whatever the equivalent of that is in India, could get lynched. It's very possible.